Good morning, professionals you trust. My name is Leslie McFadden, and today I have the honor of introducing our featured presenter, Tania McLaughlin with McLaughlin Associate Family Insurance. We asked Tania to answer a couple of questions so that we can get to know her better. The first question is, what Guinness World Record do you think you would break? Deepest ocean dive. Oh my God, that makes me claustrophobic saying that. I'm very afraid of deep ocean water, so if I could accomplish this, I'd knock out a world record and defeat a personal fear in one fell swoop. Go big or go home, right? That's awesome. Oh my God. The second question, what don't we know about you? This is interesting. I knew this. I'm trained in ballet and performed with a competitive dance studio from age 9 to 17. Pointed shoes and all, my feet thanked me for not going professional. And the final question is, do you actually love what you do? Absolutely. Is it insanely hard at times managing the chaos of insurance, customer service, sales, a team of employees, business ownership, and being a good parent? Yep, it's tough. The challenges are what got me out of bed this morning. Time to find solutions. Welcome, Tania McLaughlin.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate it. And good morning, professionals you trust. It's great to be part of a group like this every single week. What I would like to do today, since you guys are familiar with me, Tania McLaughlin with McLaughlin and Associates of American Family Insurance, is I'm going sand slides. So that's intentional. What I would like to do is to give you the best insight into what I do every day. It's really centered around advice. I mentioned before that whether you're my customer or not, that's something that my team and I will walk alongside you and give. And so for me, whether it's on the front end with finding out more about you to say what policies you need to fill the gaps, then diving into coverage types and limits, to on the back end, helping navigate a claim, keeping things up to date across different life milestones. It sounds straightforward when I run through those bullet points, but realistically, it's messy. Life is messy, and that's really the beauty of it. So the key that I've found in the years of doing what I do is to make sure that you have a professional alongside you to give that advice when and how you need it. So what I'd like to spend my time doing today, what have we got, about 9 minutes left? I'm just going to go through some universal truths, some tips, if you will, that if you guys leave the meeting today and make some changes on your insurance policy, these are things that I highly recommend you do that don't cost much. We're talking under $1 a month in most cases, if anything at all. Just things that I see come across my desk on a regular basis that make me cringe and make me wish that I was at the front end of the process to correct it before it happened. So with all that buildup, let's just start with the most mundane of them is auto liability. And I know I've mentioned it before, so I won't beat a dead horse. But on an auto insurance policy, the only limit you have to carry in the state of Washington is liability. And some of you have heard it called BIPD. Insurance loves its acronyms, but really all it's talking about is it's paying for if you cause an accident, other people's medical bills, and property damage. So if people get hurt or their stuff gets damaged, that's what liability is covering, it's other people. Now, what I see, and this is even in the state minimum that the state presents to people, is they say that the limit is 25, 50, 10. And how those buckets are broken up is you have $25,000 per person for medical bills, $50,000 for the whole accident for medical bills, and $10,000 for property damage. So totaled out cars. Now I see a lot of you shaking your heads because yeah, state minimums are scary low, but let's just use it as an example that 25, 50, 10, those two end numbers, 25 and 10, those are different. And the tip I'm giving you today is those need to be the same. 25, 50, 25 is what I want to see people have. And here's why. The difference. So for property damage, if you were to hit a car and even just need to repair it, let alone total it out nowadays, $10,000 is nothing. Being able to double it to $25,000 for less than $1 a month, please do it, because it's not about, do I want $15,000 more of coverage? The question is If you have a $25,000 claim and you only get a $10,000 check, do you have $15,000 today in your account to pay it? And a lot of you would say, well, that's what I have auto insurance for. Why wouldn't it go through there? So make sure that limit is the same. Now, like I said, a lot of you know that the minimums aren't enough. 100, 300, 100 is really where you need to be, and no lower nowadays with where claims are at. And a lot of people, myself included, have even gone just one step above that to 250, 500, 250 to ensure that if there's an auto accident, I'm not having to foot part of that bill. Okay, so that's the first. Second is going to be professional liability. So I hear a lot from business owners. I do a lot of commercial insurance. And so that's going to be running operations, having employees. It could even be rental properties. But what it comes down to when you get a business policy is you're getting a general liability policy. And again, that's covering if people get hurt or their stuff gets damaged. And it's very common for people, even like professionals like myself, who give advice to think that general liability is going to pay for that. I've got $1 million business policy. If someone comes back and says, Tanya, this insurance stuff you're telling me is garbage, and I lost out on a lot of money because of this, I'd like to claim some lost wages. So they come after with me with like a $50,000 suit. Well, you guys know that wouldn't be a valid suit, but even if it's unfounded or fraudulent, it's still going to cost me time and money and paying for representation to prove that that's fraudulent and address that. General liability doesn't pay for it. You have to purchase professional liability. So if you are someone who gives advice to your customers, make sure that either you or your parent company has professional liability. And that's also called E&O, or errors and omissions. Okay. Next one is loss assessments. Loss assessments is if the home that you live in has an HOA. Okay. Now, what that means is that you have a shared ownership of the property, that if stuff gets damaged, like a windstorm or a fire, that you pay for your unit, but the HOA is paying for all the common area stuffs. And in a condo situation, even maybe the roofing, siding of your home, and even further. Having loss assessments on your property, again, I see this maybe $2 to $5 a year to be added, but you have to have a minimum of $10,000 of loss assessments coverage on your home, renters, or condo policy if you have an HOA, because if that storm comes through and say it's a tree that comes down on maybe just your unit, that homeowners association has a master insurance policy with a high deductible. Usually it's a $10,000 minimum that I see, and they're allowed to assign you, the homeowner, that $10,000 deductible before they jump in and pay the rest. I've seen that firsthand. So please make sure that if you have an HOA or you know someone who has an HOA, make sure they have, yep, $10,000. And Justin, nicely done at 25. I love it. You guys know. Now, finally, well, I have a couple more, but beneficiaries, we've got a couple minutes left. Beneficiaries on a life insurance policy. Number one is getting life insurance in place is one of the most crucial things you can do, obviously as a family member for your family, but honestly as a business owner for your employees. So once you have something in place, the work is done and those things stay in place for 10, 20, 30, even, as many years lifelong. They go forever. The problem, though, is keeping the beneficiaries updated over time. This is something I also see in my industry a lot, that once insurance policies are in place, they can be with me or another company, it doesn't matter. If the beneficiary listed doesn't have the right relationship to you, that can keep them from getting that claim check. So keeping their name, their relationship to you, and some of their contact information updated is absolutely crucial in order for them to receive the check. So please make sure those are updated. Last two, with just a couple minutes left, let's do second home liability. So if you have another property, now not a rental, that's a little bit different, but if you have a vacation home, second home, seasonal home, liability is again covering if people get hurt or their stuff gets damaged and they're coming after you, the homeowner. Now, if someone breaks into your home, in your primary home, you're going to know. same day, that there's a busted window, someone got in, that sort of thing. But on a property that you're not at regularly, the likelihood is higher that someone is going to get hurt. Look up, hey, Marnie Garcia happens to be the owner on this property. I'm going to contact her and let her know that while we were riding quads across her property, my son fell and broke his neck, and now that's going to be her problem. I've also seen this quite often. So make sure that if you have a property that you don't live at primarily, that you make sure the liability is at least $1 million. And on the base policy itself, that's like $7 to $15 a year to bump that up to $1 million. My customers get a minimum of $500,000, like just out of the box, but those limits on policies do go all the way down to $100,000. Okay, so keep an eye on that. And with under a minute to go, I'm going to sneak in one last one that we're talking to business owners here, right? And we all interact with other business owners. Once you get to the point where you have multiple rental properties or multiple businesses, please, 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 from an insurance perspective, this isn't taxes or anything else, make sure that you've established separate LLCs and separate insurance policies. I see it a lot that there will be maybe one LLC that owns multiple properties and there's an insurance policy for that, or multiple business types under, yes, multiple LLCs, but the insurance policy is the same. Make sure that you have those lined up and segmented, number one, for claims history, because if you have a claim on one, that could impact your whole portfolio. And I'll leave you guys with that. We'll go ahead and jump into Q&A. Thanks so much.